thought I'd talk a little bit about prepping for the crash. Some of the things that I'm doing. I'm going to probably make some more videos on that sort of thing. Right now, one of the things I'm doing is I'm taking care of my properties, the stuff that I already have. I'm worrying less about buying new. And don't get me wrong, I just closed a house here maybe a week or two ago, and that's full on getting fixed up right now. I've got carpet going, or not carpet, I got wood flooring going in about 4 houses right now as well. And all of these I'm keeping, although I may sell one to my daughter. I got quite a few new people in the mentorship. It's a smart thing to do. If any of you that are, listen, this is a great time to get your skills as a real estate investor. I don't care if you already own, 30 doors, you can learn more. You can do better, I promise. 51 years, got a book, Wake Up and Smell the Real Estate. It's been a bestseller on Amazon, Audible, and Kindle. I urge you to get that. That's a place to start for you guys that are really new, or even if you aren't new, you should get it. The mentorship has been fantastic. And, we've already got several millionaires in there already. I mean, they became millionaires within the time they've been in the mentorship. And that's saying a lot. Try to get away from the noise here just a little bit. I've been prepping the ground here, kind of compacting. I guess what I want to tell you is, right now it's time to get your skills, and the reason being is that most people are anxious to invest when they're developing their skills about real estate. They're anxious. People are anxious to invest. And so right now you get in the mentorship, because even when people get in the mentorship, they're generally anxious to invest, but right now it's a good time. It really is a good time to take a break, because things are changing rather quickly. And you got to be sharp. Let me put it this way: everybody's a rock star. When things are going up, it's hard to make a mistake. You can buy something and make money, but when things have kind of leveled off and are starting to fall a little bit, which is where we're at right now, you got to be more careful. You got to be more experienced, really, to make a good decision. And so, I guess I just want to tell you, it's really, really important for you guys starting out that you don't make a mistake, and you gals, you don't want to piss away your seed capital, the money that you begin with. I got people that have given money to fake gurus and have set them behind. They've invested with them in stuff that isn't going to give them much of a return, if any at all. But again, so in preparing for the crash, one thing you can do is get your skills to invest now, while you got time, and before you make a big decision. There's some people that probably ought to sell their properties that have some right now. Maybe you're one of those people that are not sure what you should do. It's not an absolute. There's time to sell for everything. There's time to hold. But if you're, no matter what kind of great return you have, if you only have one small property, it's probably you're not gonna get rich that way. You gotta turn. If you take 10 grand and you buy something and maybe you get a 40% return, you're getting $4,000 every year on your 10 grand. Well, that's a fantastic return. That's not enough. And if you're getting a return like that, what you really did is you bought a property and you've got more equity there. So maybe you have $30,000, $40,000 equity there. Turn it, turn that into 50 grand. Because even at $4 grand, at $4 grand a month, at $4 grand a year, it's going to take several years to get back what you have in equity. And that's one of the things you got to weigh as an investor. In other words, I can make a great deal on something and make 100 grand in equity, and that may come in the form of while I have that kind of equity, maybe that means my return is, on 100 grand, let's just say it's 10%, and I'm getting 10% a year. Well, that's a nice return, but I'd much rather have my equity, so that I can, again, maybe make 5-10 times, what my initial down payment was, or when my first purchase the return on the actual investment. And that's what you really got to weigh against. It's one thing to have a nice cap rate, and a return on your investment could be quite nice, but really the cash will take you further than anything in the beginning. This living on income is something that's really more of a game for the rich. I remember being young thinking, oh, if I could just live on 5% interest, and this is when I was getting 10% interest on notes that I'd carry. But really, you got to have really tens of millions of dollars to float on. I mean, to float, depending on what your lifestyle is. But to live on 5%, it takes quite a bit of cash to live on 5%. Anyways, anybody got any questions? You can ask any questions you got. But in preparing for the crash, I tell you, those of you that have decent assets that are coming in, take care of your assets, cut your overhead. Take care of your customers, renew your leases. Very important to renew your leases right now. Even if you renew your lease, that's not going to stop somebody from going out of business and going out, and going broke. But it's a good thing to do. We all like certainty, and the more leases you get signed, and get them, get people squared away for the next 5 years, and go, okay, good, I got all my properties leased. I got them, I'm covered. Assuming they stay in business. You're covered for 5 years. That makes you sleep better at night. But letting people sit on a month to month is probably not the best thing, because guess what? There may end up being better. If things start to crumble significantly, it becomes you compete for people. And that means you cut rents to fill your vacancies. And so if you're exposed with people that are sitting in leases that are month to month, they can jump ship and they can go take a cheaper place. That's really, a lot of people don't look at this way, but you should really look at leases are like a stock. Whether you're a renter or whether you're an investor. When I put somebody in a lease for a long time, that's my hedge against tough times. Is okay, good, they're covered. Also, but as a renter, you want to lock in a lease and get a rate that. In other words, it's like the stock. In other words, you're betting, when you lock in a lease as a tenant for say 4 or 5 years, you're betting that the rents may go up. And by locking in a rate, then you've got that certainty that you want. That, okay, I want to know that my rent's going to be this low for X, for 5 years in this case. So you want to lock in the best rate you can as a tenant right now, and as a landlord, you want to do the same thing. And even though you're competing with each other, it's kind of the same thing. You both want to have the certainty of where you're going to be at for the next 5 years, and that the income is coming, or how much you're going to spend. You can count on that, because it's a factor in your overhead. Either way, but I want to get back to the mentoring thing. I've got quite a few people in the mentorship that just signed on here in the last week or two, and they've got a lot of these questions. Some have assets. And some have cash, and they want to do the right things with their cash, and they want to do the right things with their assets, and it makes sense, and it's something everybody should be concerned with. But the one thing right now that really makes this an exceptional time to get your skills, is because you're going to need more skill moving forward. You're going to need more skills in how you buy property, going into the times we're going into. But also, so it's a great time to not feel so anxious. In the last several years, people are anxious because they see other people making money in real estate. Like, I want to get in on this, I want to get on this, that fear of missing out type of thing. And that will drive people into the market at exactly the wrong time. Like right now, you jump in, into what could be a declining market, and it is a declining market in some places. Look, right now, inventory is going through the roof. There's been short inventory for years, in the last several years, and that short inventory is what, the demand, it's become a seller's market. Well, that's changed. That's already changed. It's not a seller's market anymore. That money, the money's more precious than the properties right now, and so we're seeing a lot more listings. We're seeing them sit on available for much longer periods of time now, and building. So the stuff's not selling, and more is coming online. And if you guys know, if you got my book, you know, go to leapfrogging. Go to the leapfrogging chapter, because this is the time to apply the leapfrogging chapter, big time. You know, you guys that are in your, 30, 40 years old, and obviously maybe you're sweating these times that are coming, or maybe you've got a nice secure gig going with your job. Listen, there's nothing better, and I've been in this position before, there's nothing better than being secure in your income, owning your own time. In other words, it doesn't matter if you got a job that gives you a lot of, variable time to play with during the day, or if you're self-employed and you got decent income coming in and you've got control of your schedule. In other words, you can pick up and leave anytime. That's a huge advantage, is being able to have money and steady income, good credit, and B, having the flexibility to take advantage of deals. Because believe me, you'll learn in my class, you move fast. You've got to move fast. If you've got the ability to move fast and make quick decisions, you're going to be very wealthy very quickly. Because that's what makes the difference, is having, you got to know value. Everybody knows me. They know you got to know value, and the ability to move quickly. And somebody just wrote something here. Nothing in your area, Julie? So sales have crashed. Yeah, so, and here's the deal. Everybody's affected by interest rates going up. Everybody. But not everybody is as affected as heavily as each other. But so you can just think about this. Builders have stopped. They're a little bit hesitant, so they're not breaking ground on new stuff. They're waiting. They got stuff. They got spec homes sitting there that is they're waiting to sell, and they're getting nervous because the stuff's sitting on the market longer. And what does that lead to? It leads to a change of plans. Maybe they're not going to buy that other property that they have in escrow. Escrows are falling out. Deals are falling out. There's been more canceled contracts month over month over the last 3 months. More canceled contracts. In other words, people go in to buy something, they're not fulfilling the deal. It's getting worse and worse. That's happening more and more. And it's that uncertainty that's doing that. And that's what drives it. And so then that's also what's building the inventory, is people not, consummating the sales. And then, but you have to consider it's trickle down, because with that, now the builder's not building the second phase of those homes, or, whatever the second phase could be, just be one home for a small builder, but there's thousands of those guys too. And so now the framers, the drywallers, all those guys don't have work that they can rely on to jump to. And that starts hurting the economy. At least now you got construction starts to go down. Well, construction goes down. Those guys that are living in that area, they got less money to spend, and so then it starts to affect the local business, because people aren't spending as much, and it just goes on and on and on, and ultimately it affects everybody to some degree. And but like I say, if you might be in an area that's way more sensitive to the downturn than others. I'm actually fortunate that I'm in an area, I'm in more than one area, but one of my main areas, everybody is, it's pretty affluent. They're a lot of it tied to high tech, and there's money. These guys make $300,000 to $450,000 a year as engineers, and there's a lot of those jobs. And there's plenty of $150,000 a year jobs here too, but even those can dry up some. So you just don't know. A lot of times if you're in a capital city, there's a lot of governmental stuff going on. The government, they're going to keep printing money. Everybody's going to get paid that has a job. These guys that have HUD houses, you're probably safe. You're going to get your rent checks from those people that are in the Section 8s. But those of you that hold properties that are rented by, people that are, more in the free market, and that could be, anybody that isn't working for the government, pretty much, right? They're more susceptible to those changes. It's funny. My son actually cut my hair the other day. He got a haircut. He didn't like it, and so he went on Amazon and he ordered a pair of shears, buzzers, and he ended up cutting his own hair, and it looked pretty good. And I said, hey son, I'm due for a trim, and I had him, hit me on the sides here, and I'm like, hey, you know what? That's good enough. That just saved me $50. And my barber actually is one of my tenants, so I'm not trying to take business from him. But again, listen, when I was a kid, I didn't know what a barber was. My hair got cut. My mom would throw a bowl on my head and try to use that as her guide to trim my hair. And it was only back when Dad started making some money again that I got a haircut where somebody actually went and cut my hair, where I sat in a barber seat. But anyways, I just want to share that with you guys. Keep your overhead low, and don't buy. I've been looking at buying a little fun car here for a while, and one of my tenants has a Maybach. It's a cool one. And Maybach's not for me. She even has a driver too. Last time I bought in 09, when we had a little bit of a crash there, I went and bought about a Mercedes-Benz, an SL 500, one of the little sporty ones where the top folds up and goes back in the trunk. I bought one of those for like $30,000. It was $105,000 new, just a few years before I bought it. But that's one of the things that will happen is second cars and second homes, they gotta go, especially if the interest rates are going up on those second homes. Those vacation homes are a little bit more expensive to maintain and keep now. But so you can probably kind of bet if you want to get a nice car, it's worth waiting. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to wait a little bit, just because I'm not a huge car guy anyways, but I am going to get something cool. But I might as well wait and see if somebody's got something they want to dump. Connecticut sales still going strong, yeah. Afternoon, German. Thank you. And I was looking at, like, right now, and I was just perusing, and I'll go back on here. If you guys want, we can do a live a little later today. Let me know if you'll be in or not, and you can call in. But I was looking at Columbus, Ohio. Columbus, Ohio, Spartanburg, I think North Carolina or South Carolina. Some areas that have some pretty reasonable rate commercial deals. And I was looking at them because I know they kind of made some headlines here recently in the stuff that I look at. And I thought, well, why are they low? Why are they low? Why are they on the low side? And what I did see at Columbus, high crime rate. I don't like high crime rate areas. It's growing, crime is growing everywhere as it is. But, and it could be a sign of the times. They're not even punishing criminals anymore. Letting people steal $800. If you see it on the news, you'll see, they'll run into a CVS or a Walmart and just start grabbing, smashing and grabbing. And they didn't care that they're on camera, and the cops don't, they don't have, the city council doesn't have their back. They're worried about, if they try to arrest somebody, then they might, get themselves in trouble or get in a position where they had to defend themselves and shoot somebody. And then, some of these cities are really anti-cop, which I really just have nothing to do with, and they never want anything to do with that. I love the cops. They're important. I think they give order, and they're not perfect, but guess what? I'll take that over a world without them. So let's see something else here. Omaha. Some good commercial stuff. Well, take a look at it. Maybe we'll go live here a little later, and we can jump around and look at some stuff in different areas. But so that's it. Again, if you don't have the book, consider the book, and consider the mentorship. Listen, if you're not a millionaire, if you're a guy that's got tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars, but you don't have any really decent investments, get in the mentorship. If you're smart enough to discipline yourself to save, $80,000, $90,000, $100,000, then you're smart enough for the mentorship, I'm sure. It's anybody that can save, has the discipline to save money from modest means, they're more than likely a good candidate for mentorship, because that's kind of mental toughness you need, is the ability to say no and the ability to wait for deals and save. A lot of people don't have that discipline, and what they end up doing when they do buy a house, they end up refinancing their house to pay for the mistakes that they made in the last 10 years buying shit they can't afford. Don't fall into that category. You know, life is short. You know, it really does go by pretty quick. And when you start pushing 40, 50 and, you know, you don't have, you know, much money, you really better think about throwing it in gear. And that's one of the things that's been so satisfying about the mentorship is I got so many middle-aged guys like myself that are made hundreds of thousands of dollars, some millions of dollars, millions, plural, in my mentorship in just the last couple of years. And I don't see anybody with testimonials like I've got. And it's because they have a mentor. They have somebody they can contact and talk to. They can say, don't do that. Or, oh, that's a great deal. In other words, that reaffirmation that that is good, or a condemnation of some sort because, no, you're stepping into, you know, a shithole. Be careful. You know, it's good to have somebody with experience that's kind of got your back and can walk you through and help you with stuff. And that's what I do. And the success rate is fantastic in my class. And, you know, and then now the classes, I've got so many great, smart people in the class, money makers, that you're in fantastic company. You're lucky to even be in the room with these guys. So it's really cool. We have a great group, and urge you to check it out. But hey, anyways, hit that subscribe button. It just takes a second, help the channel, hit subscribe. I'll never lie to you, and I promise you, you'll learn a lot. You know, I don't spend a lot of time on production, but it's the information that I think that counts. And we'll see y'all later.